Hello all my dear student friends. Welcome to this session. Today we will discuss supercharging of IC engine. Before we discuss supercharging of IC engine, you should know what is the meaning of charge. So charge means air fuel mixture in case of SI engine and only air in case of CI engine. In SI engine or the spark ignition engine, the air and fuel is first of all mixed, and this mixture enters inside the engine cylinder and it is ignited by the production of spark. But in case of the compression ignition engine, only air is entering inside the engine cylinder, and during the compression stroke this air gets compressed to a very high pressure since the compression ratio is very high. So at the end of compression, temperature is also very high, which is higher than the ignition temperature of the fuel. So as soon as fuel is injected inside the engine cylinder, combustion of the fuel takes place. So therefore the meaning of the word charge is only air in case of the CI engines, and it is air fuel mixture in case of SI engines. So coming back to the supercharging of IC engine, let me ask you one question, that if you want to increase the power of an existing engine, the power output of an existing engine, what will you do? How to increase the power developed by an engine? That is the question. Now in order to increase the power, common sense tells that you have to burn more fuel per unit time. If you burn more fuel per unit time, then the power developed by the engine will be increased. But my dear friends, for burning of more fuel, you need more oxygen. So burning means it is the process of combustion, and combustion is the process of combination with oxygen. So for burning of more fuel, more oxygen, that means more air is required. If the quantity of air or oxygen is insufficient, then incomplete combustion of the fuel will take place, and this will lead to the wastage of the fuel, and power will not be produced. More power will not be produced. So for producing more power, of course more fuel will be required, but more air, more oxygen is also required, then only more power can be produced. So this can be done by inducing more charge or more air inside the engine cylinder per unit time. So again the question arises, how to induce more charge or more air per unit time? How to allow more air to enter inside the engine cylinder in a given time? That is the question. Because we are not changing the size or volume of the engine. We want to obtain more power from the given engine. So what can be done? Can we do this by increasing the velocity or RPM of the engine? If you increase the velocity or the RPM of the engine, then of course the power developed by the engine will be increased. But this will also increase the weight of the engine, because when the velocity increases, the vibrations are more, and therefore robust construction is required, and that increases the weight of the engine. And by increasing the RPM of the engine, the power developed will be increased. That means the energy available per unit time will be increased, but the power developed per cycle will not be increased, or the energy available per cycle will not be increased. The work done per cycle will not be increased. So what should be done? What is the solution to this problem? How to increase the power developed by the engine? This can be done by increasing the mass or the density of the charge which is induced inside the engine cylinder. We can increase the mass, we can increase the density of the charge which is entering inside the engine cylinder. But here the quantity or the weight, the mass of the charge which is entering inside the engine cylinder depends upon the atmospheric pressure. So the atmospheric pressure limits the mass of the charge which is entering inside the engine cylinder. Of course, we cannot increase the volume because the size of the engine is fixed. The size of the combustion chamber of the engine is fixed. The diameter of the engine cylinder is fixed. So we are not changing the geometry of the engine. But we are interested to increase the mass of the air or of the charge which is entering inside the engine cylinder, and this is limited by the atmospheric pressure. So for this purpose, if you want more mass to enter inside the engine cylinder, we must increase the density because volume is fixed. So if you increase the density, then automatically mass will be increased. So for increasing the density of the charge which is entering inside the engine cylinder, we must increase the pressure. We must supply the charge to the engine at a pressure which is higher than atmospheric pressure. So for this purpose, we have to compress the air. We have to compress the charge. And this compressed charge will enter inside the engine cylinder, and thus we can produce more power. So this process of compressing the charge and thus increasing the density of the charge which is entering inside the engine cylinder and thereby obtaining more power is called as supercharging. This is nothing but supercharging. Now let us go ahead to study something more about supercharging. Supercharging is the process of increasing the mass or density of the charge induced into the engine cylinder and thus increase the power developed by the engine. So this can be done with the help of the compressor or a blower. We can use some compressor or some blower that will increase the pressure of the air of the charge, and this will be supplied to the engine. So the compressor is generally a rotary compressor. In case of turbochargers, which is one type of supercharger, we are using the centrifugal compressors, which is also a rotary compressor, that is a non-positive displacement type of rotary compressors. So nowadays mostly we are using the rotary compressors for supercharging. So this compressor or blower itself is known as the supercharger, and this supercharger will also consume the power. Many times this point is forgotten, that the supercharger is also consuming some power, though it is responsible for increase in the power developed, but it is itself consuming some power. So this supercharging is widely used in aircraft engine, because at higher altitude the mass of the air sucked by the engine cylinder decreases. At higher altitude, the engine cylinder cannot suck more mass of the air because the pressure of the air decreases with altitude. As we go higher and higher, the pressure of the air is reduced, and therefore the density of the air is reduced, and therefore the mass of air which is sucked by the engine cylinder at higher altitude reduces. So in order to avoid this, we are providing supercharging to the aircraft engines, and thus the reduction in the power due to higher altitude can be compensated by the supercharging process. Now in other engines also we are using supercharging nowadays, especially in the racing cars we are using the supercharging. in the various 2-stroke and 4-stroke petrol as well as diesel engines, we are using the supercharging. Now if you compare with an ordinary engine which is producing the same power, a supercharged engine is giving you some benefits. So what are the benefits of a supercharged engine over the ordinary engine which is producing the same power? First thing is that it is lighter, weight is less, then vibrations are less, therefore small foundations are required, and the consumption of lubricating oil by the supercharged engine is also less, because at lower velocity we can obtain more power. When velocity decreases, then the consumption of the lubricating oil is reduced, because when there is a more relative motion due to more velocity, then there are chances of more friction. So lubrication should be more proper, lubrication should be more efficient, and this increases the consumption of the lubricating oil. Now what are the objectives of the supercharging the engines? Why we supercharge the engines? First of all, to reduce the mass of the engine per unit brake power. For obtaining the same brake power, we can decrease the mass of the engine, and this is a very important factor in case of aircraft engines, because in aircraft the weight or the mass of the engine should be less. So mass is a very important factor in case of aircraft engines. So supercharging is required. One more reason why supercharging is required in aircraft engines, that we already discussed, that at higher altitude the pressure of the air is less, so density of the air is less, and therefore the power produced will be less. So we have to compensate this power, this decrease in the power produced by supercharging that engines in the aircraft. Second objective is to maintain power of aircraft engine at higher altitudes where less oxygen is available for combustion. This point already we have discussed. To reduce the space occupied by the engine in case of marine engines, we can decrease the volume of the engine, we can decrease the size of the engine, so the space occupied will be reduced. We can produce the same power by even a smaller engine by using the supercharging process. So this is desirable in case of marine engines. To reduce the consumption of lubricating oil, we have seen that the lubrication becomes simple, because when velocity is decreased, then the friction is also reduced. So requirement of lubrication or lubrication becomes simple, and therefore this point is advantageous in all types of engines. Then to increase the power output of an engine whenever it is required, especially in the racing cars, it is required to increase the power output. Suddenly the power should be increased, sudden boost in the power is required in the racing cars, and therefore supercharging is required in the racing cars. What are the effects of supercharging? That we are going to study one by one. Of course the power output is increased, but what about the efficiency? The thermal efficiency may be improved, but what about the overall efficiency of the engine? Though the power output is increased, but some power is lost in operating the supercharger. So if you consider this power, then it is difficult to say that the overall efficiency of the supercharged engine is increased. Though the thermal efficiency may be improved, but always we can't say that the efficiency, overall efficiency of the engine is increased due to supercharging, but of course the power output is increased. The volumetric efficiency is increased. So the volumetric efficiency is very important in case of engines. So volumetric efficiency is nothing but the ratio of the actual charge which is induced during one stroke or during one cycle of the engine at NTP condition to the stroke volume. So the volumetric efficiency is definitely increased because the actual charge which is induced inside the engine cylinder is increased because the density and the pressure of this air which is entering the engine cylinder is increased. The weight of the engine is reduced due to supercharging. Compactness is achieved because the volume or the space required is reduced. So we get a compact engine due to supercharging. The combustion is improved because the turbulence which is achieved, a better turbulence is achieved due to higher pressure. The air is entering inside the engine cylinder at a higher speed, higher pressure. More quantity of air is entering. So the turbulence is improved, and due to that the combustion is also improved in case of the engines, but that is improved in the CI engines, compression ignition engines. Thus improved performance of the CI engine, the performance of the compression ignition engine is improved because combustion is improved. But in the SI engine, the engine becomes the chances of knocking increases in case of SI engine due to supercharging. So reduced requirement of lubricating oil. The consumption of lubricating oil is reduced due to supercharging because the velocity is reduced, and reduced possibility of knocking in CI engines, but in SI engine actually the possibility of knocking increases due to supercharging. So due to reduced vibration, the foundations which are required are smaller. Smaller foundations are required if we are using the supercharging process. These are the effects of supercharging. Now let us study turbocharging. What do you mean by turbocharging? Now we have seen that additional compressor or blower is required for supercharging, and this additional compressor or supercharger also consumes power. Power is consumed, right? Though the power output is increased, but for this increase in the power output, more fuel has to be burnt, right? And the consumption of the power is there for the supercharger, and this may even sometimes decrease the efficiency of the engine, overall efficiency. So what should be done to overcome this problem? Can we use power which otherwise would have been wasted and which is available at the spot? Can we use some power which is of no use or which otherwise is wasted and it is available at that particular spot? So what is this power? That is nothing but the exhaust of the engine. The exhaust of the engine contains about 30% of the power produced by the engine. So the exhaust gases, they are having some energy, they are hot, and they are having some velocity, some pressure, right? So some energy is present with the exhaust gases, and can we try to utilize this energy which is present in the exhaust gases? If we don't utilize, then that is wasted. So how to utilize this energy of the exhaust gases? The exhaust gases can run a turbine. The exhaust gases can be utilized to run a turbine, and this turbine will operate a compressor which can work as a supercharger. Turbine will operate a compressor and this compressor will work as a supercharger. So this is the concept of definition of turbocharging. So turbocharging is nothing but the process of increasing the power output of an engine by supplying compressed air to the engine, and this air is compressed by using a compressor which is operated by a turbine, and the turbine is using the exhaust of the engine to produce the power. So this is nothing but the turbocharging process. This is nothing but the concept or definition of turbocharging. So let us try to understand turbocharging with the help of this block diagram. First of all, this is an engine. Now the exhaust gases come out of the engine. We know that the engine emits the exhaust gases. These exhaust gases are having energy more or less 30%. Now this percentage varies from engine to engine, whether it is SI engine or CI engine, what is the power, what is the HP of the engine. There are so many factors, but around 30% power is present, energy is present with the exhaust gases. So this exhaust gases can be used to run a turbine. The exhaust gas pass over the turbine blades. So the turbine will produce the power, mechanical work will be produced by the turbine. The power which is produced by the turbine can be used to run a compressor, to operate a compressor, or this compressor is also called as supercharger. Power can be supplied to the compressor. So that becomes the supercharger or turbocharger, right? Now this compressor or the supercharger will compress the atmospheric air, and it will supply this atmospheric air to the engine. Compressed air will be supplied to the engine, right? So this is nothing but the supercharging or turbocharging. When this compressed air is supplied to the engine, then the engine will have more energy. The engine can produce more power. So more power is produced by this engine, right? We can obtain more power by the process of supercharging or turbocharging. So this use of the exhaust gases by the turbine to produce the power, and the utilization of this power by the supercharger to compress the charge, and the supply of this compressed charge to the engine for producing more power is nothing but turbocharging. This is the process of turbocharging. Thank you, my dear friends.